Lester by Becky Bloom, illustrated by Pascal Beat. Lester and his friend Leo were going to town together. "Please be careful, Lester," said his grandmother, "and try to be considerate of others." "Of course," said Lester. "I always know how to behave. Listen. Please, may I have my hat, Grandma?" "Thank you, Grandma." "Excuse me, Grandma." "There's more to good manners than saying please, thank you, and excuse me, Lester," said Grandmother. "Why not let Leo help you brush up on your manners?" So Leo agreed to give Lester some lessons. Lesson 1. Around town. Don't block the escalator. Stand to one side. Litter goes in the garbage can, not on the ground. When you're shopping, put things you don't want back on the shelves. Always let others off the bus before you try to get on. "Don't worry," said Lester after the lesson was over. "I always behave when I'm in town." When they had finished their shopping, Lester decided to try out his new skateboard. "No, Lester, not with the shopping bags," cried Leo. Too late, the skateboard slid in a puddle, and Lester crashed into some people passing by. What a mess! They all fell down, the groceries went flying, and so did Lester's bag of socks, a new pack of baseball cards, and his hat and sunglasses. Mr. Cat got the skateboard in his face, and Rabbit lost his ice cream cone. Most of which landed on Leo's head. Lester said, "Please, thank you, and excuse me, but it didn't help." Leo was very embarrassed and started to clean up Rabbit. Meanwhile, all this skateboarding and splashing was making Lester feel hungry. Lesson 2. Eating out. Always wash your hands before eating. Knives, forks, and spoons are for eating, not for playing drums on the table. Eat or talk, but do not try to do both at the same time. "Don't worry," said Lester after the lesson. "I always behave in restaurants." Their food took some time to arrive. Lester started blowing bubbles in his soda, and when lunch did come, he gobbled it down and built a tower with his leftovers. And when the tower fell over, his cup fell on the floor, and he crawled under the table to get it. "No, Lester," cried Leo, "you don't fit." Too late, the table tipped over and the food flew everywhere. Lester said, "Please, thank you, and excuse me," but it didn't help. The waiter said he never wanted to see them in the restaurant again. Leo said sorry to everyone. By now Lester was thinking about going to the park. Lesson 3. Playing at the park. Remember to skate on the paved paths and not in the flower beds. The plants and flowers are for everyone, so don't pick them. Do feed the ducks, but only if it's allowed. Don't play loud music. Others may not like it. "Don't worry," said Lester after the lesson. "I always behave in the park." But when he started playing soccer, he kicked the ball straight into Fox's picnic. And then, when he flew his kite, he tried to do some tricks. "Careful, Lester," cried Leo. "Watch out for the sand castle." Too late. Lester got tangled in the kite string and tripped. He fell head first into the sandbox, squashing the sand castle flat. Lester said, "Please, thank you, and excuse me," but it didn't help. "I'm so sorry," he added, copying what Leo had said. But that didn't help much either. Leo decided that they should visit their friend, Mr. Alligator. A visit would keep Lester inside and hopefully out of trouble. Lesson 4. Visiting friends. Try to look neat and clean. Knock first. Don't just walk in. Greet your friends politely. It is not your house, so don't jump on the furniture. Say something nice about the food. "Don't worry," said Lester. "I always behave at friends' houses." But when he was feeling thirsty, he opened the refrigerator without asking, slurped down all the milk, and spilled some of it on the floor. Then he knocked over a very nice lamp, and when he saw an interesting book on the shelf, he grabbed it and knocked some other books down right onto Mr. Alligator's head. Then Lester tried to be helpful, but as he carried a tray of fruit juice, he showed off his silly walk and juice spilled everywhere. Lester said please, thank you, and excuse me, but it didn't help at all. Then he offered to clean up, and everyone thought that was very nice of him. Leo was pleased too. He didn't have to apologize for Lester this time. By now it was getting late, time for Leo and Lester to go home. Lesson 5, at home. Don't waste water. Always put the phone back on the hook. Don't forget to put your toys away. Don't stand in front of the TV when someone else is watching. Always put your clothes away. Don't worry, said Lester after the lesson. I always behave well at home. In the living room, he took all his toys out and scattered them everywhere. He played his music so loudly it gave Leo a headache. When Lester decided to watch a movie, his sandwich nearly got put into the VCR. Let's have some of Grandma's raspberry pie, said Lester. He took a big slice and left the rest on the sofa. Then Leo sat down on the raspberry pie. Lester, cried Leo, that's enough. We must clean up this mess now. I'll clean up, said Lester. You have a rest. Without so much as a please, thank you, or excuse me, Lester picked things up and put them away. Then he swept, wiped, and scrubbed. My, what a clean house, said Grandma when she came back from shopping. Lester, you have behaved yourself. Thanks to Leo's lessons, said Lester. Well, I suppose I did make 1 or 2 mistakes, but tomorrow I will be on my very best behavior.